Welcome, everybody. I'm Steve Smith, the communications manager at Curaytor. Today, I am joined by Jason Thompson. He runs our services division. He's our Google Ads expert, our overall paid media expert. Today, we're going to cover a really great topic, something that I know that Jason spends an awful lot of time thinking about and working on for our clients at Curaytor. And he's got nearly a decade of experience doing that beyond Curaytor as well. So outside of the real estate market, we're going to talk about how to build better custom PPC audiences. Jason, I know some of our regular viewers probably know you by now. We have you on as one of our most frequent experts that join. I appreciate you always making time for us to share some of the things that you've been working on and thinking about and tinkering with lately to drive the best results possible for our clients. Before we dive in, tell anybody who's new, who's watching this stream, a little bit about yourself, just so they get to know you.
Yeah, so I have been doing digital marketing in practice for about 8 years. I sold it for a couple of years. I used to teach people how to do online businesses as well for a little bit, doing like drop shipping and website building and stuff like that. So ads was always a part of it. So I've kind of hit a lot of different places with that. But I've also done a lot of industry. So I've had a pretty uh, specific experience in paid ads with researching and experience and being alongside stuff with SEO and email marketing and other types. But the bulk of my experience and time has been spent with paid ads in industries of B2B, B2C, um, across the board. I mean, women's fashion, right? Software, um, TV shows, done some of that as well.
So I guess I'm excited to have you join us today to talk through. We'll probably keep it mostly focused on real estate. We're gonna go ahead and not talk about women's fashion too much and mostly it's because when I look at this screen, what I don't see is the faces of two people who should be telling anyone anything about women's fashion. But I suppose you could say that getting that into the hands of others or getting in front of the right audiences is something that could be valuable. So we'll talk more about services than tangible goods today, specifically your real estate services, but also some lead gen opportunities, campaigns, and custom audience builds that might get you new leads in your database or help get back in front of people that you've already engaged before that you want to make sure that you're staying up with. So, like I said, Jason runs our services team here at Curaytor. He oversees our Google PPC, our buyer leads, our seller leads, and then our custom agency services as well, where he helps clients build out anything that meets their heart's desires, whatever goals they're trying to achieve. I know you have a great session with them to understand the goals that they're trying to achieve, the what's next in the phase of their business. So, Jason, you tell me, man, where do you think we should start today as far as showcasing some of the high level? I think we are going to get into some nitty gritty, into some nuance to really help anybody who has already been investing and maybe has even been under the hood themselves. Obviously, at Curaytor, we are a service provider ourselves, so we try to take the guesswork out and take the manual labor out of it for our clients. But we don't just provide the service. We also train our clients on the services. So if you were taking a new client or someone who hasn't invested a ton of time or money into PPC yet, where would you want to start?
Well, so the first and the most important part of when it comes to building audiences is understand why we're doing it. Right now, a lot of people when they do Google Ads, they start with search campaigns, which, while still important to have a good audience built out, is less so than doing stuff like display or YouTube, where that is the bulk of it. You have to have a good audience, or else there's no point. So the reason that we have a good audience and these custom audiences and why you want to build these out and really put thought and effort into them is because if you build a really good video, if you build a really good ad, you have a really good website, um, but you're basically building a billboard and putting it in the middle of nowhere, right? Or on a road where nobody's interested in it, then it's not going to do you any good. So when it comes to these custom audiences, we're basically saying, well, now we're going to put you somewhere where only the people who fit exactly what you are offering or who would be interested in it are going to be driving.
That's as a basic fundamental point. When you say custom audiences, now like typically when I think, all right, we're putting an ad spend behind something, I'm trying to get it in front of people. Does custom, it just means I'm adding any and all filtering devices, behavior, like if it's behavior based, does that make it a custom audience rather than a generic audience? Is giving it any prompting, is telling Google, hey, I want to deal with people in this age range primarily or this area. Do we call that custom, or is that a distinction that we make between something else?
When I usually say custom, even if I'm using Google's pre-built audiences, if I'm layering it with other things to kind of make it more its own,
Hmm.
then I usually call it custom versus just saying like, hey, if they're in market for real estate, and that's it.
Gotcha.
Right.
So
That one's just more just an audience.
all right. Well then, and obviously, like in my head, like the reason why you'd want to do it, like you said, like the billboard metaphor, like if it's a generic audience, like if it is something that Google pre-recommends, that sounds like something that literally anybody else with a Google Ads account would have the exact same access to.
Mhm.
And so what you're trying to do is help get any kind of edge possible, trying to maximize where those dollars go to a slightly likelier audience to be engaged or to convert into a lead or something like that. So we ultimately trying to get away from the generic targeting that might waste some of your money, that might put your ad in front of people that actually aren't likelier to engage with it and get you to a higher intent, higher quality prospect for your business?
Correct. So that way we can maximize our ad spend and get the most value out of the people who are actually visiting, right? We have higher chance of conversion and higher quality conversions because we know they fit.
All right. Well, hey man, I know we're in the middle of May already somehow. I'm not entirely sure how that's happened. I mean, obviously one day after another. But it's this year's flown. I know, I mean, we talk a lot about seller leads. We work with a lot of agents who are listing agents and agents who are becoming more and more heavy on the listing side. Obviously, that is a challenge that everyone faces, but also we do really great work supporting buyers agents and teams where maybe our client directly is a team lead or a broker owner, and they obviously want to attract more listings, but they also have buyer leads and buyers that they need to support their buyers agents with. So where do you want to start today? You want to dive into a campaign targeted to try to generate buyer leads? Do you want to try to create an audience that is likelier to generate seller leads? Where do we start?
I think let's talk about, well, what platform do we pick, right? Now, again, we're going to spend a little bit more time in Google. That's where we're going to dive in deep. But let's
Okay.
talk about why you might want to use some of the other platforms for your specific campaigns, right? Because obviously you can do audience building inside of Meta ads. You could do a lot of audience building inside of LinkedIn. There's great options. So when it comes to, again, whenever me and you talk, it's always, well, what is their goal? That is always the first place I start because if I don't know your goal, I'm not going to be able to recommend the best platform and plan and targeting, right? So, recently I talked to a potential Curaytor client just last week, and it's interesting because he came to me and he had a lot of YouTube videos. He was out of Silicon Valley. He's talking to me about, well, I really want to target all these tech businesses. I thought, well, what better place than LinkedIn?
Sure.
Now, we have not talked LinkedIn very much at all, right? But it is an amazing place to advertise because people put accurate, or at least the most accurate, we'll say. Going to be some people who fudge some information, but
Oh yeah.
they put the most accurate information, I would say, on LinkedIn, right? So we can target things like, well, okay, if they're living, let's say maybe 20, 30 miles around Silicon Valley, that's our first targeting. Now let's start to build our custom audience. What companies do they work for? So now we can actually specifically target in LinkedIn and say, well, do they work for Apple? Do they work for Google? Do they work for any of these other tech companies that are
Hmm.
based in this area? And so now we're targeting to people we know are relevant. And now we can build an ad specifically for people in the tech industry. All right. We can say, okay, we're going to target them. This ad, this video is going to speak to people that fit this audience. So it's going to resonate with them more than somebody who is just has nothing to do with tech.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then we're targeting that specific group. Some of the other things that you can do in LinkedIn that's just amazing is, for Curaytor, for example, we target real estate agents, but we also want to target based on title in the real estate industry. We build a whole list of different titles that would fit the, people who are gonna most likely decision makers in this. And then we
Sure.
layer it with in the real estate industry. Right? For somebody looking to sell a home, you can do people who are in groups. Maybe they're in certain like home search groups on LinkedIn. Maybe they're following a lot of the information around interest rates, right, and loans, and so they're following a lot of these pages, or there's specific people like real estate agents, right, in those areas. They're following them specifically. So maybe now we can start to target these specific things that just really get kind of a granular level to build custom ads for them. So that's why LinkedIn is a huge advantage.
Yeah, I think when we've talked before, and obviously in marketing, like behavior-based follow-up is very big, and that's creating content around like I know you've been on my website recently, or you have or have not engaged with my email content recently, you have or have not clicked on an ad of mine recently, things like that. With what you're saying about LinkedIn specifically is in addition to behavior based, you also just have like the self-reported. You have more self-reported information, more of a like I've got my hand up for these interests of mine, and certainly things about your own professional
Salary
life.
ranges as well. So people who are selling, maybe they only are selling $2-3 million homes. And they're like, well, this is the kind of salary range we need. People put salary ranges all the time in LinkedIn. Or, they grab it from company information. They say, well, they work at this company and this is the job post, and that company's been pretty open, right? They've done job posts on LinkedIn for that salary range. So now we kind of get an idea for it.
Now, do you want to go under the hood in LinkedIn? Is there anything that we can show our audience today, what like a couple of things that you want to look out for while you're building a custom audience in LinkedIn? Like you said, this is the one that we probably haven't touched the most. I think we spent a lot of time in Google. We spent a pretty good amount of time in
Mm-hmm.
the Meta space. Should we go under the hood of LinkedIn, showcase a little bit about the way that they allow you to create a custom audience before you set your creative live?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is going to be Curaytor specific advertising. So now we're going into, well, what do I do when we're trying to drive traffic for Curaytor, right? So one of the first places, again, it's going to walk you through. It's a very easy LinkedIn. It's very user friendly. They're not trying to trip you up, right? They want to make sure that you're getting the most value out of it. So it's a great platform,
Hmm.
right? So first, just location, right? And again, we want to make sure that we are targeting people who are actively in it. Um, I can't edit this one because I've already said it live. And so some of the things, and this is one of the things with LinkedIn, sometimes when you build a certain campaign or campaign group,
Uh-huh.
they don't let you edit it. It's like, well, now you've saved it. It's done. You have to create a new one. So
Okay.
a little bit of a pain point, for me. But um, it is what it is. Usually these campaign groups are kind of built as like once you build this, now you build a whole bunch of stuff underneath it. Anyways, it's not usually built for just one ad type. So, but then you can get into your audiences. Now, this is something we can edit all the time, right? What we've done here for this specific audience, and I've built a lot of different ones for, you know, to test them out, because that is the biggest thing whenever you are doing audience building. Test different audiences. Try to find out who's engaging the most and what's going to work best for you.
Now I got to stop you there just because I know so many agents in general are very budget conscious.
Mhm.
So the idea is test different audiences. Part of what we try to do is, maximize your ROI. I think there always is and should be a learning phase, a testing
Hmm.
phase. But how, like, let's say you've got a new campaign that you want, you know, you're targeting, let's say trying to attract more sellers. Here we are in the late spring. Um, if you're saying we need to test different audiences, what's your strategy there? Is it like build out the three different ones and just a third of your budget, or is this more of a like you do like a 24-hour test? How, like help me understand the me the mechanics of testing out multiple audiences when you're
Yeah.
trying not to burn your budget on potentially bad leads in the learning phase. What do you do to make sure that you're learning, but that you're not wasting your entire marketing budget for the month?
That is where it does for sure get difficult with any sort of marketing is you kind of have to realize you're going to burn a little bit, right? It's just kind of how it is.
Got to spend money
Um,
to make money, as they say.
that's exactly right. Like I used to have companies approach me and say, "Here's 5 grand. Whatever happens with this test happens. If we get nothing out of it, at least we've learned."
Okay.
Right. And
I
that's
hate to
kind of
say
low.
it. I hate to say it. I feel like in the world of May 2025, I think we're having fewer people say something like that, aren't we, Jason?
That could definitely be the case. But when it comes to trying to maximize this, is as long as you're building out a very specific group, it's easier to do tests knowing that you're not going to burn things out,
Okay.
right? Because again, a lot of those people that are coming to me with these really large budgets, they're testing out audiences that they're like, okay, well, we've got our main audience that we know. Like, does this one work? We
So,
have no idea.
so that's a point, which is like if you got nothing working right now, this like it's like, okay, I got to test and find some stuff out. I You got to get the low hanging fruit
Hmm. Yep.
first. Is that like
Always start with the
it's a
low
lot
hanging
more
fruit.
palatable. It's a lot more palatable to say, oh yeah, like I burned some budget in a research and development phase. If you have something working consistently, you have your tried and true going. And then
Correct.
from there, it's more of an expansion. It's more of a like, what additional reach can I get? So so maybe we should talk about things in terms of like
Yep.
building out your base level, like get the blocking and tackling, get the ABCs of lead gen or custom PPC audiences set up right before you get too ambitious, get too creative, get too experimental.
Yes, whenever you do any marketing, they're always going to tell you you go for the lowest hanging fruit, and then you expand as your budget allows. So with this for Curaytor, right, our low hanging fruit would be people who we know are real estate agents who are in, and this one is specifically groups. I have another campaign that's specifically built for title in real
Oh,
estate as
sure.
well, right? So those are the two that I'm testing.
Okay.
Is it just people who have titles, or if they're in these professional groups? Again, they'll give you a little bit of information inside of it,
Yeah.
um, as well as they'll even give you a breakdown. Right. So this is the breakdown, but because I have also this narrow option, it's going to cut the rest of these out for the most part. Right. There still
Yeah.
might be somebody who's like, well, I'm in sales and I'm in real estate and I'm in this group. Right. You'll still get some people. There's no way to just completely get rid of everybody who doesn't fit.
Sure. Now, like, just I know we're doing like the Curaytor account. Let's say we're working with an agent right now. Like, we don't need to like edit these member groups, but like if it's possible, like if you're thinking about helping an agent, and thanks to Wendy dropped a few in our private Zoom chat. And by the way, if you're watching live in the comments, say hey to Wendy. Wendy's our moderator. She's a community manager here at Curaytor. She's a phenomenal resource for us, for the team at Curaytor, as well as for all of our clients. So all of our clients know and love Wendy. A lot of shout outs for her. So Wendy asks, would we maybe be targeting specific local, like we're obviously, like you talk about Silicon Valley for it's a very distinct market. I started thinking about where I'm from, Lakeland, Florida, the home of Publix. And Publix is a huge employer, but like it's not like one of those towns where it's like, oh yeah, everybody works for Publix.
Yeah.
We have a more diverse economy than that, but I can imagine creating, all right, we've got a few, we've got a few colleges, we've got a few major employers, But then you have so many things. I'm wondering about, as a real estate agent trying to target folks by location, but also like life events. Like we all know that life events end up driving more real estate transactions than anything else. Is that something that you can lock onto in LinkedIn? Obviously, we're talking about like their job. Like they got a new job.
Mhm.
This is probably the best one. This is probably the best platform for that. Are there any things that you would try to do rather than being like a digital service provider for the whole country? We're looking at interests and professions. If you're kind of laser focused on a market or two, can we walk through a little bit of some of those settings in a deeper way?
Yes. Now, I would say LinkedIn is probably a little bit harder if you're trying generic stuff like that, where it's just, hey, we're looking for people that are just interested in homes for sale.
Hmm.
A little bit harder to kind of hit those interests and traits and things because people aren't in LinkedIn to look for that stuff, right? Where this is just trying to generate interest. But I would say this is a big one. Let's say people are um, in the army. This is
A
a
lot of mark,
huge one.
yeah,
Relocation for army bases, right? Now, again, I'd have to really research and play around with the targeting to
sure.
dial in. But you can actually absolutely do something like, hey, they, maybe are actually, you know what? Before I say that specifically, maybe the army bases are not as LinkedIn friendly. I don't know.
There is a chance that some of the private nature of the public sector, yeah, sure.
Yes. So, but I mean, yeah, I'm gonna guess it's probably not base specific. It could be, right? What is there? There's the Hill Air Force Base
Yeah,
near
man.
me.
So this is this
Oh, there we go.
we're all, this is we do on these calls. Sometimes they're like very polished. There's slides. There's a presentation. This is a working session, man. This is fine.
Yep,
Like so,
we're just
yeah,
playing around.
like yeah. This
So
is
Hill Air
this
Force
is we're
Base
doing a
does
little
have them.
behind the scenes for everybody.
Yeah, this is absolutely how I build all these out. They say, well, here's my goal. I want to target Air Force, or I want to target Army bases and people relocating to them. Right. Now, again, the relocation part might be a little bit difficult because um, I'm not sure if we can build out any like they're actively searching for because they're not looking on LinkedIn.
Well, right.
Uh,
And that's one where you say you have multiple strategies, right? This is a custom PPC audiences training session, but as an agent, you are not limited, and you better not be limited exclusively to only generating leads. It's like like if you have a company that hires in folks, if you a frequent relocation opportunity, building relationships in your network. That's one of the way. That's one of those like belly to belly things that we don't have to. I don't think we have to preach too much to our clients, because the types of clients that we work with are folks who are already members of their local community, who are leveraging those opportunities. But it is something that we always want to coach on and make sure that everybody's aware of. Yeah, the regular in person, the digital mayor works, but also like a real going to events, being involved in community affairs, local government, things like that, PTA boards, all of those things
mhm.
that create genuine connections and networking opportunities. Leverage that. It's not all going to be custom PPC audience by any means, but that's the
Yes.
sort of thing that you can play on multiple fronts.
Yeah. And what just popped into my head is why not just have a video branding yourself? So we're going to go anybody who's at the Hill Air Force Base who works there, because let's be honest, who moved more than people
Sure.
in the Army? Right. So now you're branding yourself to everybody who's currently working there, everyone who's got it marked. Hey, I am the real estate agent for this army base, right? Like I'm the person you want to go to when you need to sell your house and move now.
Right. And and that's a great video strategy in general. Like whether it's an army base, whether it's a neighborhood, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
a new building, no one's gonna like. I would say maybe taking a video outside of a military base. That's probably the one that you might have the most. You just get a little bit farther away, and then you get some
Yep.
B-roll. But like in general, yeah, there's nothing to stop you from having that. Put that on your profile. Put that on your page, and from there, if you could create a boosted post, you could create it as a campaign across
Mm-hmm.
any of these platforms. But just having that content there, plus a little like, is there a resource guide? Is there
Yeah,
what you need to know about the neighborhood, what you like the top 5 things to know about, and then whatever video you've created, have that follow up that's not just the hi, it's me, I want you to know me. It's like, hi, I want to offer you something.
correct. Yep. So now you're not only just branding yourself as the go-to and knowledge person, you're actually demonstrating that. So now they remember, but also maybe you have some gated content. And well, now I've got their email address. Now they're part of my remarketing strategies. And we're just kind of touching base all the time. So then it's not only, hey, they need to move, somebody they know is moving. And it's, hey, I've got to recommend this person because they're just in my head always now. So it could be a great ad strategy for sure. So building out these audiences, there's a lot that you can do, whether it's company name, people who follow certain companies. Now, again, they do have to have a certain number of connections depending on what sort of targeting you want to
Mm-hmm.
do, right? It can't be, I think it's like anything under 500 employees or connections. I can't remember which one, right? Because it also changes based on what you're trying to do.
Okay.
You could do education, you could do demographic, um, field of study, job experience, again, job titles. What are the functions of their job? This is obviously really big when you're doing B2B stuff. So any sort of commercial real estate as well, very easy to do this kind of thing because now you can target specific titles and job functions of people who would be the decision makers for commercial real estate, right? So that's why I love LinkedIn. And I've always done a lot of advertising in LinkedIn. Again, more so on B2B. I've done some B2C on LinkedIn. It does work. It's just a little more difficult to dive into exactly who your audience is. But it's a fantastic platform.
Sure.
Okay.
Uh, yep. While we're in here, is there anything left on LinkedIn that you want to dive into before we talk? As you said, like, we talk about buyer versus seller versus other
Mhm.
things. Part of that goal setting mode is actually just literally choosing the platform. So I think that we've
Yes.
we've spent a little bit of time in here. What else should our audience know about LinkedIn before we maybe move over to the Google or the Metasphere?
Yeah. So LinkedIn, like I said, it's very user friendly. It's just building out again, step one to step two to step three, making sure you pick the right ad format and making sure you pick the right um, goal in LinkedIn for what your goal is. Are you trying to gain traffic? Are you trying to just generate interest? Are you trying to get leads? Right. And then LinkedIn will walk you through how to do those specific things. Very user friendly platform for
Hmm.
sure. Um, and then again, some other stuff that you can play around with conversion tracking, bidding, scheduling. But like I said, easy platform to help you through it all the way.
Nice. I have to ask while it's on my mind, we were talking a little bit before about the testing. One of the best practice, like people always ask, like, how long should I run an ad for? Obviously, that changes based on the goals, but I'm thinking if you were doing back to the topic that we had around if you were testing out new audiences, typically, how long do you need to pick a winner? How long do you need to see an ad running across a couple different audiences before you say like, oh, the sample size is too small, the sample size is too small, I can make a call.
I wish there was like some locked in date range or amount of data. Basically, a lot of times I just kind of play it by ear based on, again, how much budget are they putting towards it?
Hmm.
If you don't have enough data, you can't make a decision no matter how long it runs for, right? If you're putting $2 a day towards a campaign and splitting it in half, you're never going to have enough data because the seasonality is going to change, the all that. So I usually go by budget, how much they're spending, but also sometimes, I mean, sometimes I look and I go, you know what? I don't think this one's spent enough. But then another campaign could have spent the same amount. And I'm like, look at all that data I've got.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, two of the campaigns that I ran for curators, one of the boosted posts we did for an event just like this got a really low cost per click. So we got way more clicks for less cost.
Hmm.
But then when I was running some of these ones, it wasn't getting as much traction. And so I would need much more data and budget to determine, does this landing page work? Right? I can already tell the ad probably isn't working because it's
Hmm.
not getting clicks. Is it
Okay.
the ad or is it the audience? That's what I got to play around. So it's kind of a hard thing to say, spend $200 and now you've got your budget. It's
Right.
almost like you just
Well,
have to
that's an
look at the
important thing is
data.
right. I framed it in time, but the
Yeah,
actual it sounds like and time is a part of it, but the larger, more important variable is actually the budget itself. That's
it's how
what's
much
going
data.
to give you the information.
Well, it also
So,
depends on what you're trying to do. If I'm going for clicks, then I need clicks. Regardless of what the spend is, the clicks is the data that I need to figure out. Um, and then leads, right? I'm like, we're trying to figure out conversion rate. So now I need a certain amount of leads before I can determine. So
mhm.
that means the budget amount is going to change because clicks, you get way more clicks for $100 than you do leads. So which one am I trying to test here? It's not just testing which audience does better, it's which audience does better for this.
It's a lot. It's a lot to consider. You know,
Yep. That's why I
there's
have a job.
I was just about to say it's literally why you've got a gig, man, and you do it very well. Let's keep things moving. What's the you want to go to Google? I know that's where you like to be, or do you want
Um,
to go to Meta
we
for
can
a little and then pop over to
we can
Google?
briefly talk about Meta. The problem with Meta is fair housing really just killed it.
Okay.
Right? Fair housing just tries really hard to oh, I just went back. Meta tries really hard to just. Honestly, I've never been a fan. I like it. It's great. It does a lot of things, but Google just gives you so much more freedom and data that sometimes I have trouble with some of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But um, a lot of the good stuff that you can do would be certain things like interest targeting, right? So we do things like real estate appraisal, investing, properties. We've done stuff like mortgage loans and other things like that. We've done a lot of testing around these different types of detailed targeting. You obviously can't change gender, you can't change age, location. You can only do a 15-mile radius at
Mm-hmm.
the smallest,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you still get a little bit limited on how tight your targeting can be.
Right.
As well as just even with the detailed targeting, you can only do interest. You can't do any um, like titles or pages followed, or there's a lot of stuff that they kind of limit you on.
Okay.
But you can upload your database and do lookalike campaigns, or and they change around what it's called all the time. But essentially, what a lookalike campaign is,
Yeah.
say
Well,
this is the people that convert. Can you find me people like this?
yeah, yeah. Will you walk through the broad strokes? Because I think that like lookalike campaigns or lookalike audiences have historically been pretty successful for us at
Mhm.
Curaytor for our clients. The how would you in Meta create a lookalike audience? And let's talk just a little bit about why that would likely be effective for you.
Yes. So to do a lookalike campaign, all you need is to download your database of all of, and again, I would not recommend just doing everybody that you have, but like maybe, again, and it depends on how many people are in your database, right?
Hmm.
The more people you have, the better chance you have. But if it's like, well, I want people who are going to sell or buy houses, then you probably want to have a list of people who are buying and selling houses, not necessarily people who just showed up to your website and filled out a form one day, right? Now, again, if you're just going for, hey, I just want to increase my lead flow, then yeah, absolutely, let's do that. So again, it all
Right.
comes down to intent.
Yeah, it comes back to what you're looking for. I was going to say some of this, like getting as granular as like, yeah, like they're interested in finding a property right now. It's like, yeah, that's going to be a smaller selection of people. Again, with low hanging fruit, you might be trying to get people who are going to convert sooner, but
Yep.
that's going to also be like you can obviously PPC exists to do this, but
Yep.
also that's going to be making sure that the people who are already in your database that you're following up with them really well. I like my I'll say bias, but like the way that I look at PPC is it seems much more often to be the place where you want to start filling up your database, adding folks that are casually interested. It's a way to get in front of more people, and then from there, you got to work your database. You
Right.
probably already like you've already got so many deals in your database. It's just are you going to be the agent that they reach out to? That's why you've got to have a comprehensive marketing system. You got to have a campaigns. You've got to have content going out. You've got to be engaging them so that even if all of your stuff isn't fastball, like I'm going to help you sell your house today. I'm going to help you sell your, like, it doesn't have to be that, but as long as you are presenting being a vibrant, authentic, interesting agent in your market, that's where you get those calls. That's where you get the
Right.
response to an email that had nothing to do with selling a home, but it says, "Hey, glad you emailed me today. I was just talking to my sister and she needs to sell her house."
Yep.
Oh, it had nothing to do with whatever the content of the email was. It's being a frequent, useful marketer. But so with PPC, generally, that's where I think of as being like, this is where you want to get those folks into your database. Then you got to have the good follow up that helps introduce you to them before you start talking to them like you're really close. But so
Yep.
here we are. Now trying to leverage that database information and get a little bit closer to people that you don't know yet through this lookalike concept. Walk us through it.
So it's very simple. You go to your audience section, and they even have create a lookalike audience, right? And you create a new source, whether it's going to be an Excel file, whether it's going to be Google Sheets or something, right? You'll just kind of say like custom custom audience source with a
Mm.
customer list, right? These are all the people that we have. Now you can also do people who have gone to your website if you have all of your tracking set up correctly, app activity catalog. There's a lot you can do, right? But if you were to do customer list for this, they're going to give you the format that you need. Then you just edit your format and upload it. And
All
that's
right, so
really it.
that's like you said, that's export from your CRM.
Hmm.
Make sure that you're formatting your spreadsheet according to Meta's recommendations here.
Yep. And you can even download a template and then just put your data in it.
There you go. See, that's probably the way you'd want to go that. So
Yeah. Or just change the names, right? If we say like, well, the column header is email, so we change whatever column we have to email,
sure,
right? Phone is going to be phone, not phone number, right? That's the identifier, but this is what you actually need as your column header.
gotcha.
Okay. So they're going to change these based on, well, what is this? Right. If you have it as this, nobody's going to be able to, Facebook's not going to
It
identify
won't
it
it
correctly.
won't recognize it.
Uh-huh,
Okay.
as the actual column that they need to do it for. So, yeah, first name, this is where it always shows up. First name, last name, it's not spelled out. Different than other places you'll go to.
All
So,
right.
but other than that, they'll walk you through very simply on how to do it. You upload, and now you've got yourself an audience that you can build lookalike campaigns for.
Okay. And so that one was from your own database. I saw that they also had Meta
Hmm.
audience information as well, right? So it's choose a custom audience source from your sources based on your site, your customer list, your catalog, but you can also what's the what's the meta sources? What would be the best case? So is this like if you have your Facebook page or can you connect it
Yeah,
to anybody? Yeah.
no, this would just be your own. You can't throw in anybody else's,
You tell me you
but
can't just drift off of somebody else. You can be like, yeah, give me
I know,
everybody from
right?
the okay. Yeah.
If
Probably for the
only.
best. Yeah.
But now you can say like people who are engaging, if they visit, if they like it, if they're following it, like you can kind of build out specific things.
Okay.
How long they're in the audience for, and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's again, it's all same with your Instagram account, same exact stuff. All right. So it's again, they try very hard to let you walk through. They just have a lot of fair housing rules
Hmm.
that kind of lock down real estate. Still works really well. We obviously have done a lot of Facebook advertising and gotten a lot of leads from it. It just makes it a harder source if you want to do custom audiences for specific things. Okay.
Now I know we didn't talk about doing this. I'm wondering should we take a look at the Facebook ad library while we're here today? Just
We
as
haven't in a while. I have to remember where they actually put it.
I got you. I got you.
Okay. It's been a while since I've looked at that one.
That's okay. I'm gonna send it to you in the chat.
Okay.
And then Wendy, if you don't mind sharing the Facebook ads library in the YouTube chat
That's
for
right.
us. So this is
So
uh this is one of those tips that I see going around all the time. I've been seeing ads with it lately. And I keep going, we've been telling people about this for 5, 6, 7 years, it feels like. People,
true.
but so just in case you didn't know, Facebook I believe is legally compelled. I don't think this is because Zuck is just Mr. Transparency. I don't think it's a benevolent move. I think that there has been regulation that has insisted upon this, and that's why Google also has it. And I think LinkedIn even has it as well. So
Mhm.
if you want to see what's going on, we talked earlier about testing your budget. Let's say you don't have a ton of budget to burn, but you still want to see what kind of campaign should I build? What kind of audience should I build it for? I need to figure that out, and I don't have the luxury of having tens of thousands of dollars. Well, if you go to Facebook's ad library, you can see what other companies are running. We've got an active status on right now. So like this isn't just like all the ads that have ever been run. This is what is currently running, and it even shows you when these ads started running. So like yesterday, Zillow started running a few of these ads. You can see this ad's been live for 19 hours. You've got a search by school feature. They're marketing, they're advertising a search by school feature they've added. They've got a side by side look at two properties and compare them. That's a
Oh yeah,
campaign
it's
that they're running right now. So this is the sort of thing that if your IDX on your site has the ability to filter by that, you could run your own campaign. I would not immediately look and see, oh, Zillow started running this yesterday. I bet it's a winner. We don't know if that one's a winner. It's only been running for 19 hours. Scroll down a little bit and you're going to see that they've been running certain ads for a couple of months. They've got a few that started up in April. They've got a few that started up a little bit early. Oh, look, this one's been running since July of 2024. Connect with a loan officer through Zillow Home Loans. We've got the buy ability. So they've got several ads featuring their unique service offerings, their unique connections. And obviously it's Zillow. They've got deep pockets and deep connections. But if I think that using a tool like this to get it inspired, and especially back to the theme of I don't have a ton of budget to burn to do all of this testing, to do all this learning, what can we learn? What else can we learn besides the creative, Jason? Can you click on like see ad details? Is there anything we can see?
No, it's pretty much just going to be creative. They're not going to give any specific data on performance or anything like that because
Okay.
that's going to be for their
Be a little bit
data, right? That's
private. But
private,
you
yeah,
can see that
private
they're
data.
running it on Facebook, they're running it on Insta, they're using it as a messenger campaign.
Yep.
It's got multiple versions. So yeah, so I would say if you are trying to find the best campaigns that you can run, but you don't have the budget to test, take a look at this. Find your local competitors, find the Zillows, the Redfins, the big names in the industry that might be targeting the same kinds of buyers and sellers, the same types of consumers that you want to get in front of, and take a look and learn from what they're doing creatively so that at the very least you're giving yourself it's like again if it's only been running for a couple of days they're probably in testing mode too, but if it's been running for a few months it's probably been a winner for them. They haven't turned that one off yet.
Well, these types of ones, they're constantly changing. The A/B tests are happening every single month. There's
Yeah.
always an A/B test going at some point. I would be shocked if Zillow did not constantly have new versions, even if it was just slightly tweaked, right? Changing homes to property. I guarantee they have a whole bunch of data on whether property or homes works better.
Yeah.
So,
Before, well, I see we're in Google Ads now, but like really
mhm.
fast, part of what we want, like we looked at this last week, and part of the reason why we came up with this session today, we know we wanted to get you on the session. There was in the last couple of weeks, there was a little bit like we were seeing some of our clients, we were seeing some agents and other masterminds and other support groups as well, having some issues with Facebook ads specifically. I know that you've overall, it seems like things have kind of stabilized. It looks like it was more of a them thing than a realtor thing.
Yep.
But real fast, just to make sure, in case there is any lesson to learn, or even if it's just, oh, hey, we've got the update on why that was happening, or we've got some insights into what might have been causing that. Can you go over? We saw, I think it was Matt D'Antonio in our mastermind uh, had received a message from Facebook that said like, "Hey, yeah, we pulled your ad, we pulled a few of your ads." He said, "Well, I guess Zuck doesn't want my money anymore." And we saw a couple of our clients, and again we saw a couple of their agents talking about facing similar issues with their post boosting and their campaigns in Facebook. What's been going on there lately? Is there agents need to know to make sure that they're not wasting their time and wasting their budgets building ads that are not going to be distributed on Meta?
Yeah, so with this last one, it seems to be there hasn't been anything official that I've seen, but it definitely kind of alluded to, and from what I've researched, it was Facebook did an update, and their algorithm just kind of started grabbing things that didn't necessarily need to be taken down, right? It just kind of got overzealous, right? The best thing to do if you ever see anything that you're like, how in the world did that happen? Like, I followed all the rules. You appeal it. Always just appeal it, right? Because if there's any reason, and also even if there is a real reason behind it, at least it's going to be, you'll get more information. You'll be able to see, well, okay, this actually is something that I need to address. But just make sure you're following all the fair housing rules, and you should be fine.
All right. What it seemed like it seemed like it was probably, well, one, I think it's amusing that I know that a few years ago they stopped saying move fast and break things was part of their ethos, part of their culture at Facebook. I think it was right around the time they broke democracy. No, I'm kidding. So we're not getting political here. So but that stopped being one of their core values. It had been one of their core values of the company, and as they have become near ubiquitous in all of our lives, there was an attempt to recognize, oh, we probably shouldn't be doing that. I think with AI becoming a larger part of their content moderation, it seems like it was probably AI kind of doing a larger blanket than it needed to. It was
Yep.
like miscategorizing things as being out of scope or being out of regulation. So I know we saw several folks appealing and having a
Mhm.
positive result pretty quickly after saying, "Oh, cool, like we reviewed, you're right, you're back up."
Yep.
So
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 if yours is
in
still
this
down,
case,
just appeal it.
yep.
And it is
So yeah,
also pretty common, right? Like this stuff happens all over. Google will do a new update for SEO guidelines, and people's rankings will tank. And then like, oh, okay, we might have like we reversed something. We found that it was too much over here, and the weight over here was too. It's everyone's still testing. Like this is
right.
something that happens across the board, anyways. Um, so I wouldn't worry too much. If it happens, just appeal, move on.
Yeah. That's another argument for having a well-balanced, well-rounded approach to marketing. I know it's tough because when it is, it's money that you've worked to earn that you're trying to spend on your business. There's not much more frustrating than I am trying to do my job and I am trying to do it the right way and I'm trying to invest in doing my business the right way so I can support my clients better and I can support my team better. So it's certainly immensely frustrating. The hope there is that, yep, Facebook's going to mess up sometimes. Google's going to change a setting or two that's going to affect what you've been doing. LinkedIn might change their settings. You want to have an all around comprehensive thing so that if one thing breaks, if one thing gets changed on you, something out of your control, that you do still have that maybe your SEO takes a hit because of a Google update. You still That doesn't affect the fact that you've got really great guides on your website that you can email the people in your database and send them to. If Facebook changes things, you still have your Google ad game running so you want to have a multi-layered, well-rounded approach to marketing and advertising as best you can.
Yep, right. And to just make sure that you're always kind of in the loop, right? That's why I'm constantly following pretty much everybody in marketing industry so that anytime anything pops up or anything new, somebody's telling me about it.
Sure. And that's where it's minor house ad that wasn't even meant to happen. It's why clients love working with Curaytor. They get access to somebody like Jason. They have their CSMs like Rachel and Charlie and Joe, several of whom we've had on sessions just like this over the last couple of months. If you want to learn more about our wonderful CSMs, check those sessions out. Really great takeaways because they're on calls with real estate agents basically all day, every day, hearing about the things that are helping them succeed and also hearing about things that they're struggling with. And they have they're on the front lines of it, hearing really interesting information, helping us affect our strategies, helping us build out new services and improve the ones that we offer. It shapes our coaching, it shapes our content, it shapes the way that we do our work. So make sure you tune into those CSM live streams as well. But yeah, it's great to have, like, it's to be a real estate agent full time. You're not going to be able to stay up to date on all of the changes within any one of those ecosystems. Just Meta is a massive, massive ecosystem. You're not going to be able to stay up with it. And then you add a LinkedIn, you add a Google, you add all of the other components. So that's one of the reasons I'm so proud of the work that our team does here at Curaytor, is it gives agents an ally. It gives them a resource, it gives them a guide, it gives them someone to go to. We've got their back while they're out there doing the important work that they're doing as an agent. My friend, we've got a little bit of time left for Google, which I know is your favorite of. Well, I don't want. Should I say it's your favorite?
It's my favorite.
All right, you've
Yeah.
been pretty into LinkedIn. I know that I don't want to
Yeah.
make LinkedIn jealous. I know you like it a lot, but let's spend the last couple of minutes of our stream in Google. I think you've got some great tips, some great tricks, some great advice for folks building out audiences in Google.
Yes. And the reason that Google is my favorite is because they have the most data, right? Let's be honest, Google is connected to an absurd amount of things, and they can pull data from all of those places, right? So when it comes to building custom audiences, this is the place where we can go to get really targeted. Okay. And so when we get into Google, there's a whole audience manager under tools, audience manager, and we can build out everything we need, right? Whether it be YouTube visitors, people who are viewing your YouTube videos, if they're following you, if they viewed even a specific video, right? You can even do that. Whether they're going to your website, whether they have been, whether they've converted, right? And when it comes to building custom audiences based on your data, you need to have a big audience size, right? Now, a lot of these are very old. This is Curaytor's ads account, so we have a lot of things that just kind of we built a lot of different things for different campaigns. We get very
through
specific.
through the years, through different various phases, and like a content type or a video series that we've been doing.
Correct. So we
Mhm.
kind of will build a quick audience and then move away from it. Now, with this, you'll see all of them are too small because you have to have at least 1,000. And it's not just, hey, I have an audience of 1,000. It's Google needs to be able to identify 1,000 people. Okay.
I gotta ask it. So just a tech question here. This has subscribed to YouTube. I know for a fact that we're not in the hundreds, but in fact in the thousands of YouTube subscribers. So where is it pulling that information from? Is there a world in which that's grabbing? Like we've got 16,000 subscribers on YouTube.
We just
Where?
haven't updated this in a long time.
All right, good to know. Let's go ahead and we'll file that
Yes, but it
away
does. Uh,
as a post show note
yep.
to you, my friend. Let's go ahead and make sure that that audience is nice and up to date.
So we do want to make sure, and it can pull, like you can link Google and YouTube directly together. You just want to make sure that that connection is up to date and always connected,
Okay.
right? Because sometimes it might go down for some reason, right? It does happen. So I would do that. So again, whenever you're building custom audiences, make sure there's enough audience, but also if it's just 1,000 and you're like, yay, I made it. You want to make sure that there's enough people in your audience that you're not just serving the same ad to the same person 15 times. It's not going to change their mind, right? So you want a big audience. Okay. So that's the first place you can do to do remarketing, right? Because remarketing is an amazing thing. Retarget your database, constantly kind of have yourself show up, help them move along the funnel. But what I want to get into is custom audiences. Okay. As you can see, we've played around with our own a few times, but there's a lot of different things that we can do inside of it. Now, for real estate specific, this is something I like to do if people have properties that are kind of either unique or they know exactly who they want to target. Right? I have some clients come to me and they say, "Hey, this school district
Hmm.
is really important. People love it. They move here for this school district. They're researching it. They're doing all those things." And so what we do is let's type in that school district, right? Let's build different search terms. Are they searching for this school?
See, because we talked about fair housing and Facebook for a little bit, and you said how there are certain reasons why you can't build filters, or you can't build custom
Mhm.
audiences based around certain things. So this seems like this is not based on someone's demographic information or based on where they literally live. This
Nope,
is just this again behavior based marketing. So if they have searched for these terms, put them into the audience. So it's not
correct.
saying it's like there's no protected class concerns with targeting based on their search history and their like what they've been telling Google
Nope,
they're interested in.
because anybody could do it, right? Anybody can. There's no restrictions on who's searching for these things. So as we build in the search terms around that specific school district, right? And you do a couple of different versions, varieties. Think about, well, what would they type in if they're researching it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can do that. Um, Same with if they have any interest or purchase intentions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe they are looking for a vacation home, right? Maybe they're looking for a second home.
Buy a
Okay, so
holiday
now
home
we're
UK.
seeing,
I like it. Yeah.
yeah. So now we're going, well, now they're researching these. So now we have a custom audience for that. Um, but then the nice part about this sort of stuff is we can also layer it. Well, not in this. We'll actually get into the layering in a forgot.
Okay.
So first we build in these are ors, but I would recommend just doing one at a time, right? I would say this one is second home market or second home research term, search term.
Okay.
And then I would build another audience for, let's say we're doing a competitor campaign. And we say we want to target people who are going or who are on websites similar to. Now, again, we cannot do they're going to Zillow.com and only Zillow.com. Can't do that. It's similar because we can't just steal other people's data and just target their data. So we can build in well, we know they're researching for homes. They're going to these websites.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to, let's say there's a property with an above ground
I'm
pool or
imagining like
something.
if they're going to a mortgage website, they're trying to get pre-approved. They're looking for that, so that might be a good bot. Like so, yeah, between Zillow and Redfin and Rocket Mortgage and a few other, and if you know a couple of local mortgage companies or a
Mhm.
few nationals, you could add that. And starting to get a
Correct.
not just a potential looky-loo buyer, but someone who's motivated enough to be on a mortgage site as well.
Yep, they're looking at mortgage calculators. They're trying to figure out what sort of loan they can get. All these things, right? Even apps, right? If there's some of those real estate apps, right? They've got them downloaded on their phone. They're constantly searching for these things. These are all options. Again, and then if you have a very specific home, right? A very specific type of home. Maybe it's at a ski resort, right? We just
Mm-hmm.
got snow in Utah again, even though it's May, and they opened up the ski resorts again. So people want to move close by so they can just
And
run up the
and
mountains.
honestly, everybody should say thank you, Jason, for sticking to your commitment and being on this screen with us rather than on the slopes today.
I
On the
know.
15th of May, somehow you could be out there skiing. What a world.
That's Utah for you. We just get random snow up in the mountains. But so, like I said, if you have a specific audience, if you have something you're like this kind of home is special, we can
Hmm.
build these types out to really market to only those individuals. Um, so once you do that, this is what I like to do. Once you've built a custom audience, now we can build what's called a combined audience. Okay. So let's say this is what I like to do for seller audiences, right? I have a seller campaign. I'm looking for only people who have houses and are in market. Actually, we can go see. I've already even built this one. Okay. This right here is saying that Google has identified them as a homeowner through all of their research tactics and data gathering. They go,
Hmm.
this person has a home. And they are currently searching for these. Okay. They're actively searching or have been actively searching recently.
Okay.
So now we can show them an ad, whether it's going to be, well, actually, this one's only display. You can't do combined audiences in YouTube, but you can do them in display. right? Or even search. You can also do them for search as well. Uh, but this is a good way to build out an audience and say, well, this is a seller campaign. We're trying to generate interest in people who are in market. Let's get them a seller's guide, right? Let's start to promote some of the things that we do that are special for them to kind of generate this. We know you're looking for a home. Here's how we can really help you sell yours. Okay. Because again, most people, when they're buying a home, it's not a second home.
Most
So
people, most
most
people.
people. Yeah.
But I will
So
say, I'm excited. I'm excited to say you've been teeing me up really nicely with several of these talking points, because I want everybody to know that in 1 week's time, Thursday, May 22nd, our next session, we're actually going to be talking with someone who also lives in a town with lots of skiing opportunities, someone who lives and works and sells as an agent. Homes, second homes, vacation homes, a very unique market in Whistler, up in Canada. It's Curaytor ambassador, a longtime client and friend Dean Linnell. He's going to join us next week. I mean, you were showing video targeting as well. You're talking about YouTube.
mhm.
So Dean's literally going to be on talking about the video marketing strategies and systems that he has built that helps elevate his marketing, that helps get him in front of thousands and thousands of people. He's got a great YouTube channel. He's got a great video presence. I've been talking through this whole session about how important it is to have a well-rounded. He's got a great blog where he's keeping folks updated. He's got a weekly email series that he's been doing for nearly 2 decades, maybe like 18 years of Friday morning coffees. But it all works together. He's got great video content, great blog content, great email content. A lot of it overlaps, and he's sharing great information in multiple media. And I'm really excited that we're going to have him joining us next Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. So that's just a little something to look forward to for everybody who's watching this live or later.
And that's a great opportunity to take all of those videos that he, helps to build and shows you what to do and all of that and put ad spend behind it. Because now we can build those custom audiences, right? You can go in, build out whatever custom audience you need to say this is who we need to target with those videos that are now awesome and amazing and are generating traffic. How can we also remarket to people with specific videos or that are watching videos to then again work together with all the different marketing that you're doing to make it successful?
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have anything? I know we're already a little bit over the time that we intended to go, but while we're here, is there any last things you want to showcase as part of your best practices and building out these really great custom PPC audiences?
Yeah, I would make sure that you're just connected to everything you need. Make sure you're connected to Google Analytics. Make sure YouTube's connected. If you have any other sort of things, they're also going to be different places that Google can connect to. So it's always just a good idea to look and see what they have available to connect to. Okay.
And again, that's just for data enrichment. That's for making
Mhm.
sure that the audience that you're creating or the audience that you're looking to get in front of is as up to date and as targeted as possible. But especially is that like with your own Google Analytics? That's based on like your own web traffic.
Correct.
So
Mhm.
yeah,
So this is obviously a great one to have. Attaching Search Console as well is a good one, because then you can look at actually just connecting anything that's Google related to is always good. But they also have other things that can connect that are outside of the Google sphere, to help gather your data and utilize it.
nice one. Well, like I said, next week we're going to have a really great content creator, not just video, but we're going to focus on not just the videos that he creates, but how he creates them. He's got a really efficient system that allows him to create more video than your average agent. And higher quality, and you'll see some of it is just like live stream like this, like recorded from a computer. Some of it is out in the field with really high quality cameras, but he has a really great blend of high res, high def in the market video, as well as just sitting at a computer, sharing market data, sharing information about what's going on. I really love the way that Dean blends his video content with his written stuff. It's really helpful about tangible real estate data, about the market overall. and just other things going on in Whistler. I'm really excited to share that with you all next week. Some of the stuff that you said today is sort of like thinking about building out a campaign. It's like, oh, have a home buyer's guide.
Mhm.
I'll look into bringing on some great clients who have examples of really great lead magnets, whether it's a home buyer, home seller's guide, different things like that that might pair really nicely with some of the things that we've shared today about building out PPC audiences. So you can put it all together from the audience itself to the campaign itself to the deliverable itself, and then you add follow-up strategies as well. Where there's so many facets to getting your marketing done right that I know what a challenge it is. I know what a challenge it is in part because I work on the marketing side for Curaytor. I also help out with some of our clients' marketing as well. But Jason, no one's closer to what our clients launch as far as paid advertising than you. And I just want to say thank you so much, not just for sharing your time today on this stream, but also for the work that you do on behalf of our clients and on behalf of Curaytor. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your insights with us today. I look forward to
Yeah.
our next chat. I'm sure we'll have several more in the not too distant future.
And if anybody is looking for, well, how do I maximize my marketing? Let's set up a call. Let's talk. How can we help you to to maximize what you're currently doing that's specific to you? It doesn't necessarily have to be anything that we've done for anybody else. I'm always happy to kind of strategize and help you hit your goals.
That's one of my favorite things that we've launched over the last few months. Like obviously we've got our buyer lead campaigns, we've got our seller lead gen campaigns, but the custom agency level work that you've been doing to sell unique properties, to target individual neighborhoods. I know we like agent attraction and recruitment type things. There's so many different things that we work with a lot of clients, and in a lot of cases we try to solve the common and critical challenges that they're facing. But we know that one size doesn't fit all for every single aspect
Mhm.
of your business, of your marketing of your business, of the advertising of your business, what you're looking for in your market. And so I love that you've piloted and launched our agency service as well for PPC for lead gen.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it's
please.
not even just Curaytor client specific. If you are a real estate agent and you're trying to figure out how to do marketing, if you're already running Google Ads and you want an audit to see how we would do it and run it, absolutely come talk to us and
Hey
we'll
man.
we'll kind of give you our thoughts.
That's very generous of you. So yeah, so what's the best way for them to schedule that sort of consultation or audit? What would be the best way to get a hold of you? Should they drop a comment in the chat here? Should they head to our site and fill out a form? Should they reach out to you personally? You want to give them your address? No, that's
If
probably
they fill
terrible.
out a form, yeah, I'll give you my email address, personal phone number. We'll go from there. I'd say just go to the Curaytor website, fill out a lead form, or yeah, drop some comments in the channel. Like we can definitely set up some time.
Awesome. Hey man, seriously, thank you so much for all that you do to maximize the benefit that our clients get, to help them with their businesses, to help Curaytor create better content, to create better services. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Wendy. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in live. I hope this has been a great session for you. Like I said, we will be back next week with Dean Linnell. We're going to talk all things video, both the actual content itself as well as the processes to maximize your time and your output. It's going to be a really great session. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time. Have a great rest of your Thursday.